Here's a very inconvenient truth that I have unfortunately learned this year, and it is that if you work for somebody, then you can always have the potential to be jerked around.
Yeah.
I mean, even what you think could be the most secure job, not necessarily that secure. That if I truly wanted my bread to be fully neutral, I would have to grow the wheat myself in my backyard. Welcome back and happy Tuesday, turkeys. How long have we known each other?
We've known each other for 2 decades.
I am not apologizing for who I am or what I like or the people that I love.
How do I be a wife? How do I be a mom? And how do I be myself in all of that? You didn't see that coming, did you?
Good morning. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Turkey Tots.
Well, this week, Kayla inspired us to talk about inconvenient truths. As per usual, she and I have probably differently, slightly interpreted this prompt, but do you have anything to add before we jump in? Because I'm excited.
First of all, love the shirt, sweatshirt, the hoodie, the pullover, Santa skulls.
Thank you.
Well, what prompted this whole thing was a reel that was like this woman shredding cheese. So I'll start off because this is my first one. She's like shredding a huge block of cheese. And she's like, I hate that I know now that there's a bunch of filler and like basically wood pulp in my shredded cheese. So now I can't buy prepackaged shredded cheese. And now I have to sit here and grate this pig piece of block. And I was like, that's so real because I hate doing it, but I do it because I can't stand it. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. And I know too much now, and so they're inconvenient truth.
Oh my God, as you just said that, I know too much now and ignorance is bliss. I feel like I could have just added 500 million things to my list. I may have some impromptus.
Okay, I love it.
Similarly to the cheese grating, it's the whole concept of there being chemicals in our food or there having been used, what's the word? Why do I always say preservatives instead of the thing that kills bugs? Pesticides.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why that's always a problem. But there's pesticides and preservatives and like bullshit chemicals in our food. And like the only way to truly avoid that is to make everything from scratch. But I don't have time to make everything from scratch. And so I just do the best that I can. And sometimes even to your point with shredded cheese, I just need to make things efficient and convenient because I'm working, but then I have the angst, the moral struggle that I'm using it. Same with condiments because I can't give up mustard. I mean, I get the mustard without the yellow 5, but it's just the mental taxation of all of this stupid information that I sort of just wish I could go back to eating purple fucking ketchup and not knowing anything.
Right. That's the biggest point of all this. And there's so many food-related ones, unfortunately, but 100%. And what I just learned is that organic, like fruits especially, it can still be sprayed with pesticides. They just have to be organic pesticides. What does that even mean?
Well, I don't know, would vinegar be considered a pesticide?
I hope so. Let's stop our ignorance there and just hope for the best because
Yeah, I can't learn anymore. I mean, I literally wrote that if I truly wanted my bread to be fully neutral, I would have to grow the wheat myself in my backyard. And I can't.
100%. You have to grow your whole garden worth of everything.
I was
I
even
know.
milling wheat for a little bit.
Wow.
Like I had a grain thing, which I would love to do in another life.
It looks fun.
But
Like
then I was like, but then I was like, where did these wheat berries come from? Because they came from my local co-op health food store, but where do they get it? And is anyone lying between me and the ground? Probably.
My gosh. The consistent message that we'll have to reiterate at the end is this is not to be doom and gloom. Do the best you can. We'll all be fine. It's annoying because you can't be perfect.
No, you
No one can
can't.
be perfect.
And if we weren't already buried in the YouTube algorithm, this is really going to put us 10 more feet under.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you mentioned pesticides and preservatives. I was thinking you were going to go chemical route, so it made me think of the natural flavor label that's on packages.
Mad at you for telling me about this last week.
Okay, because like you most people start off with reading the receipts. What? The back of the what am I trying to say?
Ingredients?
The ingredients. Cute. Oh, pregnancy brain is at a high, which when people watch this, it'll be postpartum brain. Anyway, yeah, everything looks good, and then you see natural flavors, and you're like, oh, natural flavors, okay, natural. And then when you find out what natural is, you can't buy anything in the middle aisles that doesn't have natural flavors in it because it could contain, what did I say? I think I looked it up and it said 10,000 different chemicals, man-made or lab-made or whatever, made, smushed in and hidden in that little two words. What?
Rude.
I hate that I know it.
Here's a very inconvenient truth that I have unfortunately learned this year, and it is that if you work for somebody, then you can always have the potential to be jerked around.
Yeah.
I mean, even what you think could be the most secure job, not necessarily that secure. And if you're not the person that's at the helm, you really have a shit less ton of control over your livelihood than you think you do. Which also leads me to the larger point of control just being an illusion in and of itself.
Yeah. And if you're talking about the big companies, I feel like CEOs don't even like they've got a lot of power, but they still have board of directors to speak to. Like it just never ends unless you're 0.1% the population. And
I
then
mean,
you got other
or
problems.
if you're just fully self-sustained. But even then, a meteor could hit the Earth and we could go into an ice age, and then all of that food that you've been growing and all the stuff you've been prepping could all go away. I mean, at some point, control is just a lie we tell ourselves so we can calm down.
100%.
But the positive is that if you don't make your happiness or your contentment or your peace situationally dependent, you can weather such storms.
Yes. Because you can choose to be happy. You get to choose, even though sometimes it's hard. Okay. Which brings me to the next point of this is an easy one. So, like, we should all be doing this. But when you understand what happens when you flush the toilet, you will never leave the seat up again. People, you have to close the lid of a toilet. I will say, you're making a face. I will say I didn't used to do this until recently, but now it's like such a habit. Do you do that? Oh my God, Kaylee,
So I'm laughing. Well,
your
I'm
toothbrush
laughing
is in the
because
same room.
I know, but my toothbrush is in a drawer.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
I actually have nothing out in the open in my bathroom that isn't soap or the sink. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Then there still might be poop particles on the sink. I know where this is going, but I am just saying I don't have as much floating about. I think Jason's toothbrush is out, but that's his problem.
I've seen videos of where they like darken the room and they make the whatever. And I'm like, this is terrible. It's so much more than you would think. And it goes so much farther than you think. It's like a sneeze. And it makes me want to cry. Also, if you're like into feng shui or whatever, or what is it? Something like that, or just like Chinese medicine, it's like it's good juju to close the seat because like you're stopping. It stops there. And you're like, don't come into my house. I don't know.
So you must really be a fan of the concept of a separate room for the toilet.
1,000%. Yes.
I am
Anyway,
up and until a point that you need your toilet to be wheelchair accessible, in which case those little toilet closets become a real issue. Speaking of inconvenient truths, if when you work with an aging population, it's just all of the things that come with aging. Incontinence, pee issues, your body breaking down, your wiener not working, your eyes getting cloudy, your ears going deaf. I mean, just the
gosh.
decay that happens to our bodies and the fact that everybody just wants to live in a world where we all think that we die in our sleep is a lovely sentiment. And inconveniently, I'm quite aware of all of the different scenarios of how agonizingly slow you can fade away, how difficult that is for people.
That sounds awful. And yeah, okay.
On the flip side, it
Way
will
to
make
bring it
you
out.
real grateful for your health.
That's true. And try to take care of your body now so it's less of an issue later.
But even still, even the
Gosh.
healthiest of healthies, even this is okay. I'm gonna just go right down this tangent. Here's the other thing that I find very inconvenient is that exercising is good for you, but exercising also wears out your joints.
Mhm.
And then exercising in an appropriate weight will do less damage, but it's still gonna wear down your bones. So Obviously, it's better than not being active. But then I also think about, am I causing myself future arthritis? Okay, basically, it's just that no matter what happens, I'm probably going to have to use a rollator and go slow when I get old.
Exactly. Pretty much. That's interesting. Okay, well, that is very inconvenient. What I find inconvenient, because everything is nonstick and there's all this furniture that's stain resistant, all these clothes that are stain resistant, like the little clothes that just like it beads off and it washes down. Sounds great because you never can like stain your clothes, except I know what makes those things nonstick and non-stainable, and I can never buy them because it's basically like flame retardant and chemicals and Teflon on your skin or in your pans that go into your food. The whole nonstick pan thing really effed me up for a while. I
It's really
tried.
inconvenient because do you know how
It's
do you know how hard it is for me to cook properly with like
on
a stainless steel
stainless.
pan?
I've tried so many times.
It's so painful, and even if I do it right and it's hot enough and the cells are closed, if I put something cold in it, then it still sticks. So unless I'm harvesting my eggs from my backyard, which as we've previously discussed, my bitch chickens don't lay eggs anymore and are freeloading, my eggs are cold and I'm not going to pre-pull my eggs to let them come up to room temperature so that I can cook an egg.
Who thinks of that? I know. Cast iron is great too, but the seasoning of it I can't. And
My
that's
cast
just
iron
like
pan is literally sitting on top of my stove last night, or from last night, right now, because I just didn't have the mental capacity to clean it up after dinner.
when I use my cast iron, it stays on the stove for like a week.
But then
And I'm
all I
like,
can
well,
think
it's
about
getting more
is,
seasoned.
yeah, but there's salt. There's inevitably salt in the butter that I use to cook whatever I just cooked in, and that's going to erode it.
I use salt to clean it.
I know, but then you wash it off because
Oh,
otherwise
I
it'll
see what you mean. I
rust.
see what you mean. I see what you mean. Well, anyway, my one thing is like when I'm trying to make something fast or eggs, I'm just going to use my nonstick. But you know what is bad that I actually really need to replace my pans is that they're scratched now. And that makes it like 1,000 times worse because the scratchies are emitting more. Anyway, it's such a pain in the butt to know these
Yeah.
things.
It's true. As a review of my life, I realized inconveniently that I consumed a shit ton of microplastics and chemicals as a child, physically ingesting them and also slathering them all over my skin, as I can specifically think of the 10,000 pounds of sweet pea I applied from Bath and Body Works, in addition to that sunscreen that you put on that goes on blue and then rubs in clear. We already talked about
Oh
purple
my God.
ketchup, the sun in, whatever that was that I put in my hair. I could just go on and on and on and on. Those weird Kool-Aid squeezy
Mm-hmm.
bottle things.
Yeah, full of plastic. Oh, yeah. I think the 90s and the 2000s were like the era of let's put everything in plastic because we know how to do things now and we don't know any of the bad things, or they did and they just didn't tell us.
I think the 80s kids are probably equally as contaminated.
Probably.
I think
We're all
that's when they really
contaminated in
started
one way.
figuring
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, here's my inconvenient situation with salmon. Because I liked salmon, but I can't eat salmon anymore because I can't consciously buy farmed salmon. Their life matters, okay, but more so it's like the health reasons behind how nasty it is, like for me to eat it. Okay, so like that's sad that they're stuck in that little captivity and they're like bred, but also the diseases and all the other stuff. So then I switched to wild caught salmon. It just doesn't taste the same and I can't get past it. So now I'm just like, well, I can't eat salmon anymore.
I constantly struggle for I did not have this on my list, but the farm caught or farm raised versus wild caught, because wild caught shrimp and all of those kinds of things have an enormous amount of bycatch where there's just stuff that they also catch in the nets. Because my dumbass was out here thinking like if you put a tuna net in the water, you only catch tuna. It's fully stupid.
Mm,
You catch one bazillion things, they drag it all on the boat, they only keep the stuff that they want to eat, and all these other things just die and then get thrown off the side. Highly gross. So then I'm like, okay, well, farm raised makes sense because it feels more sustainable and then you're not overfishing the oceans. But then what does a farm look like, and is it disgusting? Because there have to be ways that you could have a farm raised fish and it not be gross.
well, you would think in an ocean farm raised, that seems pretty nice still, but then it's like not. And I don't really know the reasons why. But like you got the whole ocean to swim around. How do you fart? I don't know. It's very confusing to me.
Okay, so that all disturbs the hell out of me. But then also, Jason went to Alaska, so we have a bunch of wild caught salmon, which is the best thing I've ever eaten. And I will never go back to a grocery store because it looks like sickly, decomposing flesh compared to what it looks like when it's fresh caught and frozen. But then you have to cook it to a high temperature because apparently bears get worms, intestinal worms from salmon.
Yes. So many parasites.
So, which is fine. I'm fine with cooking it. But then literally last night
you're
when
gonna say, I'm fine with parasites.
Well, I mean, you could cook them and they die, and as long as I can't see them while it's happening, it's fine because I think that's just life, and we just decided that it was gross. But my problem is now that how am I to eat sushi?
That's the problem. You have to get the stupid kinds, or the other fish ones. I don't know.
But
sushi's a whole thing.
And you want to know another inconvenient truth? Don't ever talk to anybody that's ever worked for the FDA because they will tell you about how the stuff that is allegedly sushi grade, there's really no way to ensure that it was maintained at the appropriate temperature unless it came out of the ocean and went onto your plate with your eyeballs.
There's no regulation.
Also, while I'm on this thread, if you ever thought that you bought protein powder that was what it said it was, you didn't, because there's also no regulation on that. And the amount of times that this person, the one dinner that I had with my friend's friend who worked for them, just talking about how nothing you purchase on Amazon that's a supplement is what it says it is.
Oh, 1,000%.
None of the protein powders that you buy that you think are healthy have been maintained in any sort of a healthy fashion. I mean, I'm sure there are companies who are out here who are like managing their things correctly and doing things well, but not the companies that are giving you a cheap deal.
Especially Amazon supplements. My gosh, there's so many things. I cannot work for the FDA.
I ordered ginseng on Amazon, and it was actually just powdered Cialis. And he was a personal trainer, and he was giving it out to his clients, and all of his clients were getting major boners. And then the FDA came, and they were like, bro, this is not ginseng. Poor guy thought it was. Okay.
That is awful. I have a few more, but this one pisses me off. If you're trying to avoid plastic and you buy an aluminum can, say like a soda, even though sodas aren't good for you. I had no idea that once you melt down the aluminum, it's just a plastic liner in the inside. It's still plastic. What? You just can't get away from it.
You can't. That's probably the summation of my inconvenient truth is I'll never get away from plastic. Let me rapid succession wrap these up. I can't plan my future financial picture around Social Security because there's absolutely no guarantee that it's even going to be there. Neither political party at the top has my best interests in mind, no matter how you slice it. Rewards program, points accounts, and credit cards with benefits are all probably just making me spend more money because there's no way that Amex is trying to do me a favor with Sky Miles. I fall for marketing scams all day, every day. And even though I'd like to think that I know when it's happening, I'm certain that I'm ignorant of it most of the time. The flu vaccine does not prevent transmission of the flu virus, but I still am required to get a flu shot. But actually, if you wanted to prevent transmission, you would have people wear a mask because it's passed through particles that can actually be stopped by those blue masks. But we don't want to make people wear a mask. But we're pretending like making everyone get vaccinated from the flu is preventing people who are high risk from getting sick. And no one has been able to explain this logic to me. Just because the chips are organic corn doesn't mean that they're healthy, and eating corn does not need to be considered part of a balanced diet. I need to treat it like I'm having a dessert. And basically, the last thing is that the more I learn about how alcohol is not good for you, it's really hard for me to convince myself that just a little bit of poison is fine.
I know the toxic poison of alcohol. Okay, my rapid succession, I've got two other ones that I would love to mention. I can't lay on the top of a hotel bed sheet anymore because a lot of the times they don't wash it, and that's a fun fact that I've realized. And then the fact that I have to spend $8 on a dozen of eggs because I don't have chickens. And I know that I have to buy organic and pasture raised because cage-free doesn't really mean they're outside roaming. I just need some chickens.
We just need to live on a compound together. Well, on that note, I will talk to you later.
Fun times. Do the best you can, people. It's just a shit show if you think about it too much.
It's true. And until next week, I love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.